how to turn a layer into a smart object and then add smart filters, how to manipulate those smart filters in Photoshop. Here's an image. It's just a layer in Photoshop. It's Adobe stock image. And you can see over here, layer 0. Of course, it could be any layer. To convert it into a smart object, and smart objects are great because you can go and modify them at a later time. Any of the effects, instead of being the destructive effect, which would be normal with a filter, these ones are non-destructive. So you can edit them at any point and remove them. So layer, and go down to smart objects and convert to smart object. So that's all we need to do, just simply convert to smart object. You can see there's an awful lot of other functionality associated with smart objects. Now it's turned into a smart object, you can modify it and tweak it generally only via the filters. You can use brushes, you can use gradients, but to use that you have to actually quickly double click this and then edit the PSB file. So let's just go and add our first smart filter. So filter, and you can add any of these. Maybe just go for blur, Gaussian blur, perfectly reasonable as a start point. And you can set the radius, and you can see you've got that blurring effect. If you were using a standard filter, then click OK. And you did some more work later on, you'd think, oh, I want to change that blur, or I want to remove it. You wouldn't be able to do it without undoing in the history, going all the way back. But now you can. You can see here you've got the structure, you've got layer, it gives you a smart filter, it also gives you a mask, and that's really useful as well if you want to apply the effect to a particular area and not the rest of the image. So you've got Gaussian blur there, it tells you the name of the filter, which is really useful. You can also hide it at any point. So if you decide you don't want to see it, just click there, that eye, or click, and you can bring it back. So just click that and then bring it back. Now you've also got here smart filters, just says smart filters. Everything will be added there. Slightly odd because you've also got smart adjustments, or adjustments can be added to the same section. They're not filters, but still it gets added here. So the next thing, let's just go here, just select this. And you can then add, there now you can add a gradient or brush strokes if you want to select a particular area, or maybe a shape, just something like that, but only in the pixel layer. So let's just go for a gradient. So I'm just going to add a very basic gradient, classic gradient, and black to white, and linear, and just apply it. And you can see when you do that, you can undo. You can always just undo it at any point, and you can drag across. And you can see here, you've got the white, you've got the blurring effect, and you've got the black. The image is not blurred. And you can, of course, apply it this way. So you can get a nice blurring effect there. But because I'm using blending mode of difference, you can see that some of it is now clear, some of it is blurred. You can always just go up here and set it to normal, and then apply, and then create a blurring effect at the bottom and a fairly non-blurred effect at the top. And again, this is still live. You can modify it at any point. Now you can add more than one smart filter. So you've got Gaussian blur there. You could add the same thing if you want. But you can also go to this and make certain you select the layer, not the smart filters mask. So select that. Then you can go to filter, and you can go down to distort and maybe apply wave. Any other effect as well. Tiles, all of them. And you can see the effect there. Maybe that's a bit extreme. Set number of generators, and you can vary it, obviously. Just change that and click OK. And you can always edit this later again. So applied, and you can see the effect added there, and you can see the warp, but it's only applied to the area that's affected by this mask. So it's really great. You can add that lovely twirling effect. All kinds of different effects can be modified this way. Unfortunately, you can't add a mask to each effect. That would be brilliant. Unfortunately, it's for the whole selection of effects. You can also, as mentioned, you can edit them later. So if you decide after a bit of work, you go back to it, you can double click and it will bring up the panel again. And then you can think, oh, you know what? I want more than 1, I can make it 5 instead, maybe change the amplitude and click OK. And you can see the effect distortion there. So you can modify at any point. Also, if you want, so you can remove them. So let's just remove that one. I can go to this Gaussian blur and you can hold down the Alt Option key on the keyboard and you can drag and that will duplicate it. So just go like that and you get 2. You could drag and you get 3 and so on. You can build up a whole layer of effects. So it's very easy to quickly create additional ones that way as well. You can also, you'll notice at the side, double click to edit the filter blends. So it comes up, tells you blending options bracket wave. So you know that the blending option, that can be modified per filter. So you could have one that's lighten, one that's darken, and so on. So let's just go there. You can go through color burn, maybe go for overlay. And you can see that effect there, or maybe screen. So the screen is used for that wave effect. And you can do the same for the blur. So double click and you can got that, comes up with the Gaussian blur, modify the setting, go to here and you've got the blending options. So it's really great, very flexible tool. And again, go down to lighten. Now sometimes the effect doesn't really have any great effect at all. There it is, vivid light, creates a bit of an impact there by doing that. So you've got that, you've got all your effects, but also what you can do is you of course can remove them at any point. You can always go down here and just right click and you can disable it. You can also delete it. So you decide, you know, I don't want the wave. So delete smart filter and you got rid of the Gaussian blur or wave or whatever. You can also go to adjustments. So image menu and go down to adjustments and you can think, well, I want black and white or obviously any of the other color effects. I'm just going to go for black and white. Generally that makes it really easy and obvious to see the change. And you can see here, black and white down there. It's obviously got color there. That's the area that's not been affected. This is the area that's been affected and that's black and white. And you can see if I modify the there, maybe the yellow, that area has been changed. This area totally untouched. Cyans and click OK. So you've got here black and white and you can do exactly the same as the other one. So with this you can again double click there and you can change, oh you know what, I don't want it to be normal, I can go for color dodge or vivid light and so on. So you can create different effects using different blend modes and you can change opacity as well. So you don't have to go with 100%, just reduce it down. Maybe decide don't want so much black and white effect, well put it down to 43 or 20 and then click OK. And you can do exactly the same as before. You can hold down the Alt Option key and drag and duplicate that as well. Maybe position it somewhere else, so black and white. And you can move them around. You can just drag it up and down. If you want, you can change the position. And the result of changing the position will result in different effect, depending on the effect, depending on the various adjustment. Also, with this, with smart objects, you can add a mask as well. So this is just applied to the effect. But you can always select this smart object and then go to layer and down to layer mask and reveal all. And that will add a mask there. So you can go there and then you can add again a gradient or brush stroke, all kinds of different, and just add that. So you can create some transparency there. So you might decide you want, let's just undo there and so on. So you can create a lovely effect like that. You've got the blurring down the bottom, you've got the sharp at the top, and also you've got now this transparency. So with the move tool, hold down the Alt Option key. You can do, it's just a layer. You can duplicate the layer, so just drag that, and you can see as you drag that, you can build up all kinds of combinations of images. And of course you can always resize it. Smart objects can be resized, rotated as well. And again, can build up all complex designs. And of course with any layer, smart object is exactly the same as anything else. You can always go here, normal, and run through blend mode. So if you decide you want hard light there, or vivid light, linear light, pin light, and so on, you can change that as well. All these effects are also separate. So each and every one of these layers, so if you decide you can change, say Gaussian blur here, you decide, I don't want the blur on that one. I can just remove it there, just click there and click the black and white. And also you can change the setting. So double click, change that, maybe reduce that one down, maybe, or increase it. And click OK. They're all independent of the others. None of these others change. So you can run through and modify them in all kinds of ways. You can also add layer effects to smart objects. Exactly the same as any layer. So select any of the layers, simply go down here to effects, and you've got bevel and emboss. So you can add a bevel and emboss effect. You can modify the gloss contour, the angle, as well as in a bevel, etc. As well as adding drop shadows and more. So click OK. If you want to rasterize this layer, you can. You don't have to have a smart object anymore. You can turn this into a single raster layer. Simply go to Layer and down to Smart Objects and Rasterize. You've also got Rasterize there as well. So rasterize, and now that layer has lost all of its smart filters, all its smart adjustments, but it's a single layer. It's still got its mask. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you much.